What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today we're going to talk to you on Healthier Choices Management, go over the recent 8K that just came out, what it's talking about, and everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So when it comes down to HCMC investors, a lot of them are still on the edge of their seat wanting to know when that damn spinoff is going to be occurring. There hasn't been any recent news, whether it be official or on their website. So the last news came out on November 14th, 2023. So they have been kind of radio silent for quite some time. There was this 8K that was submitted on January the 23rd. So I wanted to break this down and talk on exactly what it does mean and what might be coming next. Prior to this 8K being submitted, I was under the impression that there was going to be that spinoff announced prior to March 2024, because that's what the previous earnings and other documents did insinuate, but this 8K does kind of quash that, so just be aware of that. Ultimately, this 8K is a promissory note coming from Healthier Choices Wellness Corp, so HCWC. So interestingly enough, even though it's not even trading yet, it is looking for funding in the sum of $1.8 million. So it looks like two things are being issued. One is a promissory note in that sum, as well that same amount, so 1.8 million in Class A stock of HCWC. So this is a very bad scenario. So they haven't even started to trade and they are diluting. Ever since they announced that 4-point plan way back when, as you can kind of see on their website, August 22nd, 2022, HCMC announced its 4-point plan to increase shareholder value. During this time, they've done nothing but just fuck up shareholder value. Pardon my French. But technically though, even though HCWC, the whole spinoff that's supposed to help this shareholders, they're already starting to dilute. So once again, that's not the best. Plus the actual notes were given at a 10% discount. So this whole scenario is crap and does show that they're just mismanaging everything. Because one thing that I've really never understood, and I've said to you time and time again, because HCMC did announce that this whole spinoff was going to be profitable. So I've never understood that. By doing a spinoff, that doesn't automatically make a company more efficient, especially based on their previous earnings. Like, they are making improvements. I got to give them that. They are improving, but they're still burning through a ton of money. And so potentially these two dates that is noted right here. So it does say the principal and the interest on the notes shall be due and payable upon the earlier of the closing of the IPO, which again, we don't technically know that based on this document, or January 18th, 2025. And that talks on point number 3 about in the event of a default. So most likely it is just one of these two things, point number 1 or point number 2. January 18th, 2025. That is completely random and out of left field. There is no correlation with any other document or anything to really validate that. So technically we do know by at least January 18th, 2025, that is when the spinoff could occur. So most likely it will be sometime during 2024. There was that document submitted to the New York Stock Exchange at the end of October. So it shows that things are working. But based on my research, like, they should have heard back from the New York Stock Exchange within 30 days. And if anything, it actually might be moving forward already. The fact that nothing has happened does show that the New York Stock Exchange did have some issues with their whole application. Kind of crappy scenario, the fact that there is absolutely zero transparency, even in their recent earnings, does not insinuate when the new record date is going to be or whatever else. And plus, that's a whole nother subject that I've really hated about HCWC, or I guess HCMC, is that whole record date mess up, which I'm surprised there isn't a lawsuit or hasn't been a lawsuit announced as a result of that, because they previously played with investors back in April of 2023 saying that this is going to be the record date, and then was it 2 months later it's like, no, actually we're going to have a new record date. So things are messed up ultimately behind the scenes, but this does show that dilution is technically already occurring. But one thing that I did not like in this document, it says that the institutional investors, which throughout the this document doesn't actually list who those institutional investors are, but in this document, it does say that those investors are able to freely do whatever the hell they want, including shorting and just malicious activities. So AKA, this is called toxic lending. And so ultimately, a lot of companies do go down this path, but it just ends up in a spiral. Luckily enough, the notes are not convertible, again, because technically they're doing a side thing. So this could be interpreted as more of a warrant rather than anything else. But yeah, it's just a very bad scenario. I did have a couple comments on this, just wanting some clarification. So yeah, it looks like HCWC is already trying to raise funds. There's 2 points to kind of watch if you want to read this on your own. Throughout this document is a lot of legal jargon, more so associated to the whole agreement, but page number 3 and page number 29 are 2 things that you need to watch for. So it does talk on the use of proceeds. So this is actually going to be used for working capital purposes. So it's not going to be used to pay back any debts or whatever. So that's kind of a good thing. But then again, it does make you question the fact that they're going to be using this for working capital purposes, but at the same time that this note and also interest is payable either at the close of IPO or January 18th, 2025. So it's not really going to help and benefit HCWC. So my last video I did do on HCMC was saying, like, is HCMC a scam? And a lot of things are pointing to yes. Even Philip Morris, during the whole lawsuit, they did call out HCMC for more so being a pump and dump. And this and every other action that has happened from this company does point to it being a full-on scam, just being completely mismanaged. Even going back over here, seeing all these 144s and Form 4s, that is all management dumping their shares. All management giving investors the middle finger and saying they do not care one bit. Management has no actual backbone in HCMC, and even going back over here, like, they have like messed all of this up. Like, they technically could have sold a lot of the intellectual properties and made some money as well when it comes down to the whole like vape store. Like, there's so many different aspects of this whole transition into doing a spinoff that they've messed up, and they've really damaged shareholder value. So them announcing that way back in August of 2022, they've just done nothing but mess people up. And I feel like at this stage, a lot of people who technically own HCMC were kind of looking more so for an opportunity that the spinoff is going to be bigger and better things. But this whole thing has just messed people up massively. So once again, hopefully something does positively develop from all of this, but based on this, it already looks like they are diluting to Kingdom Come before any of it is even spun off or rolled out or whatever you want to call it. So let me know your thoughts on this actual promissory note, and what's your thoughts on the whole HCWC? Do you think it's going to be occurring prior to January 18th, 2025, or do you think it's going to be like, I don't know. Do you think it's going to be Q2, Q3? What's your take on all that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And even though HCMC is down and out, you can always take advantage and get some free shares. So simply sign up for an account with Moomoo, throw $100 at it, and you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So take advantage of this. Link in the description below and also the comments. With all that said, appreciate all of you watching.